Ladies and gentlemen, today is October 8th, 2015, and this is the KNKL Show, episode 265, where we normally learn to be better artists, but today just so happens to be Thursday. I'm your host, Keenan Lafferty, and today what we're going to be talking about is, today's Thoughtful Thursday, we're talking about taking a break. Oh my gosh, the KNKL Show is going off the air? No, that's not at all what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm actually talking about taking a break from doing Thoughtfuls. And we're going to get into that, the reason why, and just kind of a couple things that were going through my mind with that. And but yeah, just basically to sum it up, for those of you who saw this and were worried about the KNKL Show going away, don't worry. I'm still going to be doing the tutorials on Tuesday. But today I'm going to be doing sort of like a Thoughtful Thursday, kind of talking about why I'm going to be taking a break, dialing back a little bit, taking a look at everything that I'm doing with the show and seeing how I can maybe focus on a couple things and improve the quality of, say, the tutorials or just like the show in general versus, just quality versus quantity is basically what I'm getting at here. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so for those of you who joined me last week, we talked about the power of disgust and how amazing that can be for you. And just over the past few, probably the past few weeks, ever since I moved into the new studio, I've been getting this feeling where it's just like things are good, right? Things are good. I'm really happy with how everything's going. So thankful that you guys are supporting on the Patreon, and I'm really happy with the show, and I'm happy with work. But I've been noticing that basically I did like an illustration in my journal. Normally I don't like to show that, but is it here? I think it is. Yeah, check this out. Okay, so check out this amazing thing in my journal. Okay, so look at this. Oh crap, you can't even see it. The friggin'. Okay, hang on. I can fix this. In the meantime, I'm just gonna distract you with my beautiful eyelashes or something like that. Okay, so look, check this out. Okay, so I'll put that on. Okay, now if you see here, you see two laser beams, right? One laser beam is firing into a prism and then being separated into a bunch of different things. It's being separated into like 5-6 different ideas, and then the second laser beam is shooting towards something else, right? And then the question is below it, what are you aiming at? What are you actually trying to hit? Where are you trying to go with your life? So I did that, and then I asked myself, what am I actually trying to do? What actually am I trying to do? And what's kind of being pushed to the side? Because I feel like I have this laser beam of focus of things that I can create, and then it's being shot into this prism and then redirected into 10 different ways. Whereas if I remove that prism, and just for a moment, focused everything on one thing, what could happen? Where could I go from there? And so that's kind of why I'm saying that I want to start dialing the show back to what it originally was meant to be for now. I'll still do Thoughtfuls every now and then, but for now I'm just kind of running out of ideas, really profound thoughts, because I really want this show. The Thoughtful was designed for me to get better at public speaking, and I wanted to be able to give you guys ideas. I wanted to be able to give you guys ideas to make you think, maybe inspire you, maybe see things from a different perspective. But lately I've been feeling that probably the best thing for me to do is, because public speaking is great and everything, right? But there's other things that are much more important that I really feel bring a much more tangible value than just motivating you guys, right? Because a lot of you guys know, I like to do motivational speaking, but my motivational speaking tends to kind of err a little bit more on always bringing it back to realistic expectations, realistic thoughts, and I can sit here and tell you can do it all day, but if you don't have anything to give, right? If you don't have any skills or something to bring value to somewhere, then I can tell you you can do it all day, but at the end of the day, you're not gonna have anything to show for it. You gotta have skills, right? So that's an example. It's I give you the motivational thoughts, but then it's but also always remember that you have to be thinking think in terms of if you want the world to give you something, you gotta give something first. You gotta give something to the world before you have any chance of getting something back. So that's basically my motivational speaking in a nutshell. And lately, I've been noticing that when you kind of take that approach, you kind of run out of things to say, because it's how many different ways can you say this is the way that it works, this is the way the world works, and it hasn't changed. It's probably not going to change for thousands of years from now. It's just that's the way it is. And so But you know what isn't defined? What isn't defined is the stories that I want to tell. What isn't defined is more the tutorials, right? Because art is an ever-changing thing. There's always something new to do. I got tons of like cool fan art back here of people that have watched the show and I put it up on my walls. And there's so much more left for me to do in that. And so I'm wanting to take my quality, I'm wanting to take that from just the motivational stuff, put it back into the art for just a moment, just to see what would happen. And the comic, because for those of you who have been watching the comic or reading the comic, you'll notice that it takes like a month. It takes a month, maybe like 2 months for me to release one page. And that's just not what I imagined. It's just not what I imagined for the comic to be right now. I wanted to get it done. I wanted to have it done and then move on to other things. And it's really funny because I've been getting so sidetracked lately. I've been getting so sidetracked with just like other things that seem to be very important, but I've been noticing that they are important things, but they're almost like the plans that other people have made for me. They're the plans that other people would have me do. And I, somewhere along the way, kind of lost track of what I truly wanted to do. I wanted to have more of my time back to myself. Again, I told you guys this probably about a year ago. Like I said that initially I left working in-house for a major game company because I wanted to have my time back. I felt like I was being imprisoned or confined by my schedule and the deadlines and all this stuff. It's just so much pressure and expectation, which was a really awesome experience, but it was too much. And I got burnt out. And I needed to find like an escape, or not necessarily an escape, but another way, right? Because a lot of people feel that they're trapped there, and then sometimes they do terrible things, like they'll jump off the edge of a building or like do something worse. Like San Francisco, people are jumping off the bridge all the time because they're going crazy, getting burnt out at work, and they think that there's no escape. They're worried about letting their coworkers down. Maybe they're the head of a company and they're afraid of laying off all these people, and so they do something terrible and think of the only way that they can escape it, and that is to take themselves out of the game, and that's not right. So, of course. Yeah, and not saying that I never had thoughts of doing that either. Trust me, it's kind of a dark subject, but you get thoughts like that, and it's not something to necessarily be ashamed of. It's not something to like be afraid of. It's just you got to understand that when you're feeling those things, you got to take a very close look at why you're feeling that, and then kind of like weigh the odds. It's like I said, okay, well, here's what I can do. It's like I can quit and try something new. Start my dream, right? Start my comic, do something out of passion, right? Don't worry about the money. The money will come later. All that stuff. It's like I'll eat ramen noodles and I'll do this and that, and I'll just like live on the floor, no furniture, no nothing, right? Just me and my little studio apartment, and everything will be fine, right? And I can try that. And worst case scenario is I just become like a hobo and I'm drawing the comic on the sidewalk with a piece of chalk, right? But even then, it's like, of course, that's the worst case scenario. I could always go back and get a job, because that's the other thing that I didn't realize is once you are in the industry, when you leave it, yeah, you might let some people down. You might let a lot of people down, and that sure is a shame. But it's like people just get over those things. It's just life goes on. Life always goes on. So it's very important that I needed to tell myself that, and this is kind of what I'm telling myself now, is that no matter what I choose to do from this point on, it's like now's the time to take those chances. Because what's the worst that actually could happen? It's actually not that bad, because I can always go back to what I was doing. I can always go back to what I did before, because those skills don't leave. Those skills are not leaving me. So anyway, okay, so rant aside. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about today was just kind of mostly giving you guys an update, letting you guys know that I love doing the show. I absolutely love it. But I need a little bit of a break. I need to kind of dial back from doing two shows, the tutorial and the thoughtful, right? To just focusing on one show a week, focusing on my tutorial, kind of cleaning some things up, like bringing more value to you guys in terms of quality versus the quantity of the videos. And I know that some of you guys really enjoy the thoughtfuls, and there's plenty for you guys to watch, and I will be doing them still. It's just right now I feel like my content is kind of suffering, because like it's like Tuesday and then Wednesday is like my one day to kind of like have to myself, and then Thursday it's like right back to getting ready for another show. And if I just had one more day, I feel like I could I could do something really special with that. So anyway, and I'm actually doing this with a lot of things too. I'm dialing back a lot of like my side projects, my commission work, dialing back a lot of things because I just want that time back for just a moment to kind of just explore, right? The laser beam, the gazer beam, shoot the gazer beam, move the prism out of the way for just a second and see what happens if I just shoot that. I'm like Cyclops, right? I'm like removing my safety glasses, right? And just shooting my massive Cyclops beam into whatever project I choose to do. And for you guys know what that is already. So anyway, and some of you guys might be getting really excited because you know what it is. And it's like I'm very like cautious. I'm very cautious to say stuff like this like publicly because I know that once I do stuff like this, of course there's going to be the expectation and all this. But you know the other thing that I realized is that even if I stopped doing the show tomorrow, even if I never made another page of Emma again, even if I disappeared off the face of the earth tomorrow, right? You guys never saw me again. Probably nobody would care. And you know what? That sounds really kind of like sad and kind of like grim. But you know what? It's actually kind of freeing too because I realized, and in fact, this might be what you guys can get from this today, is that I've realized that my life, more than anything, the things that I create and the things that I choose to do with my life, they are for me. They are like the person that's probably going to appreciate and enjoy those the most is going to be me because everybody else is so caught up. Everybody else is so caught up in their own problems, their own life, that if someone just goes off, if someone just disappears off the face of the planet, they're not going to care for that long. They're just not going to. So that frees you up from feeling like you're letting people down, right? Because this is a constant fear that I have. I have the fear of disappointing people, the fear of letting others down. And just realize that people are so caught up in their own crap, they just don't have the time to care. They just don't. So that frees you up to say, hey, you know what? I feel like doing this and I'm going to do it, right? I want more time back and I'm going to do it. And that's okay because it's good for me. It's good for me and it's what I want to do. It doesn't matter if it's good enough for anybody else or if other people are angry or other people get ticked off. You know, it's like it doesn't matter because, you know, your life is for you. So, and that's kind of what I've been feeling a lot of lately. I've been feeling that thought or that idea just constantly coming back to me. And really what this came down to is sometimes you ever notice when something bad happens to somebody else, right? There's two thoughts that go through your mind. It's like, oh man, that's a terrible thing that happened to that person. My friend, he like owes all this money to like this medical bill or this student loan, right? A student loan. That's probably something that resonates with a lot of you. And, my friend owes all this money. Oh man, that's a terrible thing. But you know what the second thing is that if you aren't experiencing that problem, you're like, man, I'm glad that's not happening to me. And then you just go along with your merry way, right? You just go on with your life. And that's kind of when I just noticed that. It's like, what if I like was able to actually feel that way about my problems, right? Say I got my problems laid out on my table. It's like, okay, I want to create a show, right? I want to create a high quality show. I want to create a comic and I want to be able to provide for my family and take care of my studio home. You know, it's like those three things, you know, and then that branches out into a bunch of different things. It's like I got an online mentorship that I want to teach. I want to be able to teach people online. I want to be able to write emails back to people. I want to be able to balance, you know, contract work, working for Riot. And like, hey, I could do like a brand new splash for the show and then show like this whole like presentation. But then like, I haven't worked on Emma in like a month. And it's like, there's just so many things. There's just so many things that I need to begin like plucking them out and just kind of taking it and just put them over to the side, right? Take them out, put them over to the side one by one until we come down to like the bare bones. Like what is the main things that I'm trying to get done? Okay, but anyway, so going back to what I said about the problems thing. So what if I was able to think about, okay, so I have all these problems, right? And everybody has problems. But what if I was able to look at those with the same kind of like, almost like apathy, right? Almost kind of like that apathy that you have for other people's problems. And then through that, it just kind of frees you up to say, okay, well, I mean, if I was in their shoes, this is what I do. It's like, actually, the solution is really simple. You just do this and this and this and this. It's like the action that you take or the solution that you implement to take care of those problems, you do with vigor, right? You have like the utmost like you're on this high, right, to get it done. Like you're excited and you have this energy to get it done. But in terms of worry and in terms of like feeling that crippling feeling that your own problems give you, what if you could feel that way? What if you could feel the way that you feel about other people's problems like that? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing a good way. I'm not doing good at explaining this. It's been a long day. It's been a really long day. Okay. But I think you guys get what I'm trying to say here. What if you could approach your problems as though they were someone else's, right? In terms of the feeling way, in terms of the way that you would feel about them. That way you don't allow them to kind of like control you or make you worry about them. That same way that you hear about someone else's problem, you're like, man, I'm glad that isn't me. Or like, oh man, that's a bummer. But if I had to fix that, here's what I'd do. I'd do this and this and this and this. And then with that action, right, that solution that you think of, that's where you put your energy into. That's where you focus your energy into. But in terms of the problem itself, think of it as though, imagine what your friend, or you go up to your neighbor and you tell them, oh man, I owe like $100,000 in student loans, right? What's your neighbor going to say? You're like, well, that's a bummer. And then that's what you say to yourself. You're like, well, that's a bummer. Okay, well, now what am I going to do about it? What is the plan now? You know, because there's nothing really that I can do to change currently what I'm dealing with. So, the only thing to do from here is to work at the solution, figure it out. All right. So anyway, I think that's about it. Yeah. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for supporting the show and everything. Thank you guys so much for supporting the Thoughtfuls. I really hope that I've been able to give you guys some good value. And I will, like I said, I will continue to do these, just kind of dialing it back for a second. I'm going to be focusing more so on the art aspect of the show and just kind of getting back to more simple tutorials, simplistic tutorials. Like maybe we could do things on like line art, right? Or we could revisit like drawing hands and creating like flow with hands. Or just even like line sculpting. We're like really going into depth with like just techniques that I like to do with line sculpting. Focusing more on really getting that teaching phase into it, right? Because so many other artists out there they just do like the time-lapse videos. And it's really entertaining and it's fun to hear their thought process. But what about when it really comes down to, okay, imagine you just jump through this TV screen right here. You're sitting right next to me. Hello there, nice YouTube watcher. I pet you, as a good YouTube watcher. Okay, now we're gonna take the pen. Here's your pen, right? You take that one, and then I take this one, right? And we are going to draw together. The exact thing that we're going to be doing. Could be sexy ladies. Could be fantastic bodybuilder men. Could be hands. Could be, scary monsters, witches. I don't know, because we got Halloween coming up, so we could be doing that. But in terms of what we're going to be doing, that's just kind of what I'm more focusing on. I really want to get in depth as to really making you feel like you're there with me and doing more things real time. So, and we'll see what happens with that. I might try it for a week and be like, hey, you know what? I just came up with like 10 more ideas for a Thoughtful and I'm getting back into it, right? But for right now, I'm just letting you guys know what I'm feeling. And I wanted to update you and tell you guys that you rock and you're awesome. And thank you so much for watching the show over the years. Like, for those of you who have supported the show over, the 4 years that I've been doing it, or maybe you just tuned in last week. I just want to let you guys know that I appreciate every single one of you, and it's freaking awesome. So, all right, before we go, I want to say thank you to my awesome sponsors because we got some new ones. But the music started at the wrong time. Whatever. Nonplus, David Cariello, and Laura Bashir. These people are awesome. These are my sponsors on Patreon. If you would like to get cool rewards, all my sponsor spots are filled, but you can also get all the PSDs by clicking that link up there. Again, you guys take care of yourselves. Have a great weekend. I'll see you on Tuesday. We'll be getting back into the good stuff. And yeah, you guys take care and have a good one. Later.